The supernatural. What is it? That's a question we need to answer, my friends. Is it a creation of the mind to understand events that are too great, too complex, perhaps even too horrible to understand? Is it the final front of discovery as to what else lies on our planet that we call home and beyond? Or could it be lost knowledge of the world mankind once knew and is somehow relearning? Some might answer to one, others may answer with all. But regardless of how you answer, regardless of what you believe, there needs to be rules to how we make the decisions when it comes to the supernatural. In this episode of Journals of Supernatural Adventure, we will explore protocols that can be put into place within the paranormal community to not only better our approach, but to better how we work. Inspired by the events involving psychic phenomena that was put into use for the Cleveland kidnappings, it is time we put some leashes on what's actually going on within the community. My name is Dakota Franson, and it is time to say what needs to be said in this field to actually get some respect for those of us in the paranormal. So, first things first, let's go over the Cleveland kidnapping situation as of right now, with respects to the victims and their families and Castro's family. Amanda Berry breaks free from captivity after 10 years, and police were able to find even more women and Berry's daughter to be trapped in the same home by the same sicko. When Berry went missing, her family turned to psychic help to find out whether or not Amanda was still alive. This psychic gave the family words that nobody should hear about their child or any loved one. This psychic claimed that Amanda Berry was dead. Now, some people brush this off as typical human error, but in these cases, you want to eliminate any possible mistake where this is possibly a case where somebody has been killed and they had yet to be found. Because of this fact, there is actually a rule within law enforcement personnel that should be implemented within the paranormal. And that is to never make promises and to never make a final word unless you have 100% proof to back you up. But where was the error in this case? Well, first off, it was the dispatcher just plain ignoring the call. That's a big one. But that's not what we're here to focus on. But on a side note, ain't it funny how lately those of us who are supposed to run the country and keep our hind ends safe have been under fire lately for corruption and just plain arrogance? Our world is corrupt and getting worse. But that is the conversation for another time. Right now, we need to set the record straight about the common misconception within psychic phenomena. The common thought with psychics is that psychic powers are like a manifestation of a prophet. These are words straight from a holy deity, whatever you believe in. Now, something that a lot of people don't realize is that psychic phenomena is really, to be honest, nothing more than an add-on to normal human senses, which can easily misinterpret a situation. For example, you're out driving by an old farm, thinking about the barbecue this weekend, while a farmer's been out fertilizing. You think about the burgers and hot dogs and maybe some chicken, maybe no salad. And you start getting all the smells caught up in your nose. You start getting a little taste tingling on your taste buds. Start drooling a little bit. Hell, I'm starting to drool right now. Now you go off spouting saying that something smells good, and your friend riding shotgun go, you like sniffing fertilizer? Of course, you probably get a bit confused about the situation because you probably weren't aware of what just happened. So you just brush it off. Little do people know that getting random smells is actually very normal when you start thinking about certain events. Like saying going to grandma's house and you smell cookies because she's just been baking. Now, like how a bump on the head can trigger repressed memories, a single thought of food can easily trigger a response that emulates the food being cooked right at the moment. Which goes to show you can actually trigger sensory responses, well, to really almost anything without even thinking about it. But to be honest, this kind of brings up a question. Now, I'm thinking of this because we're trying to schedule another investigation. So, this brings up the thought, why do random smells on a ghost hunt get taken so seriously when something like this can happen? Now, if it's like something like a gas leak or asbestos or some shit like that, yeah, take that seriously and get out of there before you get yourself hurt. Those of you with these experiences can probably verify the information I'm about to present to the public. For those of you who are interested in hearing the stories, you might have be familiar with the concept. Now, it has often been said that when a spirit wants to let you know it's around, sometimes it gives off a certain scent. Usually, you get something similar to tobacco or perfume. Now, those of you who have had a friend or family member that smokes, or happen to put on a little too much perfume or cologne or whatever they're into, you probably know this a little better than anyone else. Excuse me. Now, those type of smells, or any kind of smell, even if it's Big Brother Jimmy's B.O. after going to the gym, can actually get absorbed into the building foundations and the furniture and can get released back out into the air after a while. So essentially, if you're in an area where somebody is likely to have lit up or got a little too nervous for a date and put on a little too much perfume, it's probably not a good idea to consider funky smells as paranormal. However, like I said before, smells should be considered if they are a sign of something dangerous, be it a gas leak, asbestos, mold, or heck, even the smells of demons. Always take precautions for those types of situations, no matter how much of a badass you think you are. Regardless of how tough you think you are, you can still be killed. That's all there is to it. Now, of course, like our other sensors, our psychic abilities can be filtered. Now, when it comes to something being pursued in a similar style as the psychic I mentioned before did to try to look for Amanda Berry, the way she did it almost looks like a two-way radio. If a person on one end didn't want to be reached, they could easily turn it off. And you won't be able to reach them unless you happen to be face to face. Now, in the situation of Amanda Berry, of course, she would want to be found by somebody. But the thing is that in situations where there's a much greater threat that life could be taken, there's a good chance she would not want to be noticed. In fact, this happens with a lot of abuse cases. The victim, regardless of the circumstances, will usually do one of two things. They will let the abuse go on and sink into a deep hole, or they will look for an opening to fight back. Either one of these ways, you can actually block psychic phenomena trying to pick up on what you're doing. Now, so say you're looking for somebody who's going through all these types of situations. There's a good chance you will not be able to sense what's going on at all unless you manage to get them to open themselves up to you. But this is not good enough ground to claim that somebody you never met is dead. Because with the last string of miracles with this missing person cases, that might be the worst call you make. This brings me to my next point. This is a question I would like to ask those of you who also run paranormal teams and go out to cases to consider. What do you do if you discover that the reason behind activity in the area you're looking into is actually because of something criminal? I'm not talking just, past experiences that you just got out of a bad situation and the emotions are still getting wrapped up. But no, let's say you find out your client is dealing with an abusive partner or is heavily using drugs. What the hell do you do then? The police might not take you seriously if you bring up that you were on there for a paranormal investigation. Plus, the dispatchers these days are hanging up on calls. So, what options are there? You can't just leave them high and dry. So what the hell are we supposed to do? Honestly, we need to put together some sort of program to help these people. With my team, the Paranormal Radar Force, we have some friends within local law enforcement that we pass along information to if we happen to be on a case that has something going on that might become an issue in the near future. I know I just said that police may not take you seriously, but here locally, a lot of cops actually like to listen to Coast while on the night shift. So you might get lucky finding a few that we willing to help you out if you put up the right front, if you know what I mean. But why is it that these clients won't go to the police in the first place if they are in trouble? Remember that deep hole I mentioned earlier? That is a huge part of it. More after this commercial break. Welcome back to Journals of Supernatural Adventure. It is May 25th, and tonight's topic is Paranormal Protocol. The missing methods of paranormal investigators that can help save lives. Now, before the break, I brought up the question as to why people don't go to police when they're in danger anymore. And this is something every paranormal investigator needs to know. The information I'm about to present can help you on a lot of cases and can easily help the client with the activity they are going through. The deep hole that abuse victims tend to fall into really tears up any sense of trust in anybody, even if they are somebody they grew up with. And most of the time, they are afraid of criticism, like, why in the hell did you stay with him? Or why didn't you just leave? Technically, they are still looking for help, but they won't turn to anybody they're supposed to go to. Instead, sometimes, if they still got a good head on their shoulders, they'll try to turn to faith. Now, this can involve church, or it just may involve those of us in the paranormal. Now, haven't you ever noticed that when it comes to the death of a relative, that the unexplained is sometimes a lot easier to deal with than our own lives? Well, the clients we see to this also see things like this and are depending on what you do to uncover it. Unfortunately, some professional boundaries might have to get crossed in order to get the client's full cooperation as to what's going on. This is where you're going to need somebody who thinks they're a dang therapist to take over. Or perhaps somebody that's good with kids, if that's the case. When things get to this point, I say professional boundaries are going to need to be crossed because the information that is needed to help pull the victims out of that dark hole can easily be drawn out through a quote-unquote significant other level of relationship. I'm not meaning you're going to have to get freaky with the client and start dating them. Just open yourself up to the person. Get them to laugh a little bit. However, be aware of Florence Nightingale syndrome. This will cause your client to feel a slight infatuation towards you, which can lead to some major problems later on. But otherwise, this will help out. I'm hoping that some of you are getting ideas to utilize within your own groups. Now, before I move on, I would like to toss out an idea to help with missing persons cases using supernatural means, which I will actually cover right after this commercial break. Welcome back to Journals of Supernatural Adventure. Tonight's episode is all about Paranormal Protocol, ways to save the paranormal. Alright, so I bet some of you are curious as to how you can potentially help with missing persons cases, especially with what's been going on lately in Oklahoma. Well, this won't give you an exact GPS where there's going to be a warning beacon, and you go straight to that, and voila, you find a person. But there is actually a way to find a person, regardless if they are dead or alive. You want to know the trick? In fact, how about we test it out right now, live on the show? Now, I'm not saying y'all should go after some missing persons right away. Just try it on a family member that happens to be in the house, or heck, maybe even your wallet that you lost, or any other common household item that you're kind of needing right now but you can't find. This trick is really easy to learn how to do, and you can even use this to find your keys if you're in a rush in the morning and you're not able to find them. So, you ready to give this a try? Let's go. Alright. Now get yourself calm and relax. No smoking drugs to get that way either. Put the image of someone or something into your mind. Preferably that is somewhere inside your home for trial purposes. Now when that image is inside your head, that is when you are ready. Now be sure you have an accurate picture in your mind. So this will go with ease. Now when you are sure you are ready, place your hands on the side of your head, like you're trying to rub your temples when you have a headache. Now imagine a long antenna coming out of the top of your head. When the antenna is at full length, allow it to spin like the needle on a compass. This lets it observe the surroundings for the lost object. Let it spin a few times. Once more, then it stops. When it stops, try to feel where that antenna is pointing to. And start looking for whoever or whatever in the exact direction you see it in. If you found the object, congratulations. If not, stand in another location and give it another go. See? I told you it was easy. Now before you try using this for search and rescue, please Practice with common household items until you get the trick down. You got it down, and it's part of your DNA. Now, like many things, it might take a while to understand and be able to use it well, so don't get discouraged if it doesn't work out the first few tries. Alright, show's almost over, but there's one more thing I would like to discuss before we sign out for the night. Now, recently, I've been seeing a lot of investigators ranting and raving about television producers, writing to them about helping out for new shows. Now, to be honest, I understand where you're coming from as far as client confidentiality and good shit like that. But some of your clients might actually be open to doing shows like that. In fact, because of some of the emails I get every now and then, I actually offer up any clients that run a public location, let's say like a store or a bar or a library. I offer up to the clients to drop their names with the networks if I was able to catch anything at that location. And some of you may know that occasionally when I get a case with some activity, I'll post a video of it onto my team's YouTube channel. So we can show any potential clients what we have caught while out in the field so far. So it's not wrong to use your clients to help boost up business. Because if you work it right, you can actually help them do the same thing. Now, if it's a private location, that's another story. Of course, you'll want to keep the information locked up to protect the clients, but some of them will actually let you post the stuff you caught at their location. What my team does in those kind of situations is we show the clients how everything gets amassed to protect them, and if the client approves it, then we get them to sign a contract for legal purposes to show we have permission to do what we do and all that good stuff. If they don't approve it, then there's not that much to sign. Then after the investigation is over and evidence is all looked through, we cut together a video that with everything we caught and burn it to the disk so that the client can do with it what as they wish, while we have a copy that is masked to protect their privacy that we post up online. However, we do not forward those kind of locations to any networks unless we have the client's permission to do so. Another safety precaution for investigations is to have the client actually let somebody know that you're there that could help hose off the police in case you get called in. For example, a while back, my team and I went in to go check out an old elementary school in the area, and we were worried that somebody might get a little paranoid and call the police on us when they saw a bunch of weird lights inside the school when it was supposed to be closed. So what we did is we had the principal call local dispatch to let them know, well, we are going to do some work inside the school between certain hours, and that we would call as soon as we were done to let them know. So after a few hours, a few freaky incidents, we called and left the message to the principal, we let them know we were done, and we happened to have the employee that let us into the location call dispatch to let them know as well. And surprisingly, nobody tried calling us in. But it's just a safety precaution that is just to cover our asses. So, if any new groups happen to be listening, take my advice. This will save you a lot of headache. Now, that's all I really have for today. Join me again on June 8th when we have very special guests, the Altoona Pennsylvania Paranormal Society, who will tell us about their most interesting case yet. Now, based on the details they've sent me, it sounds like it'll be a good show. Now, in closing, I'd say our thoughts and prayers go out to our friends and family and people affected by the tornadoes in Oklahoma. I wish I was able to do a hell of a lot more to help you guys out, but I gotta deal with the damage on my end of the country. If you have musical talent and you would like to show it off, Journals of Supernatural Adventure is opening up the end of the show for you. if you have written and composed an original song and would like it to be heard live, you can send it in to us, and if it is good, you will be heard on the very next episode. You will find more information about it in the episode's description, either below or above, right next to wherever the heck the description is now. If you're passing through Murtaugh, Idaho, and would like something to eat, stop by Little Corner Grill, by Sidewinder's Bar and Grill, for hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever you like for a low price. And if you stop by at the right time, you might just see someone very familiar working there. Now remember, you can check out all of the work from the members of the Paranormal Raider Force online at our website at any time at fransonfiles.webs.com. Remember, that is fransonfiles.webs.com. And you can might get a glimpse to see what's to come and see how you can get involved. Now, I would like to put out this warning is that if you happen to see somebody posing as me or under the name Paranormal Raider Force trying to contact you for anything financially or harassing you, please know it is not us. We have had people try to use our name. If they try to sell you anything, if they try to make you buy any services, do not do it. If you're unsure if it's legit, feel free to contact me at any time at one of our online pages. I will get back to you as soon as possible. These people are idiots, they're stupid, they're reckless, and they're trying to scam you out of the money. They're all trying to make me look bad. So think about that. Everyone be kind to one another. That's all I have to say for today. See you next time.